Hi everyone, welcome to the Spirit Podcast. Yes, I know we took a break, but now we're back and we're back with an episode that is I don't know what to call it. I will leave Grace to tell us about it. But we're excited to have you. I know this is a totally different experience, but say the truth. Are you not enjoying it? Say it. Our guest today is Grace. I'm about to sound very religious, but yes, she is a testimony of everything that God can do, situations that God can change, and just she's living her name. Let's just say she's living her name, and she's going to be telling us about her story today.
But before that, hi Grace.
Hi,
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you
Okay,
guys for having me on to your show.
we are very excited to have you. The pleasure is ours, actually. So tell us, how has the past couple of years been for you?
The past couple of years have been um life basically, because there has been a lot of positive things that have gone on in my life with my family, my career. It's been really positive. But then also it's been very challenging because with my health, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse over the last 5 years. Yes.
Okay, so your story is one that is like jaw dropping, like he's looking like Bass Boss. And I'm just like, okay. So tell us, what made you go to the hospital in the first place to even get like a checkup or anything? How are you feeling then?
To be honest, I'd had a bit of history before.
Okay.
My I think I was 19 when I had a lump removed from my breast, and it was benign, no problems or anything like that. So um by the time I was getting married, 2007, I had another lump, but I ignored it because, I thought to myself, I've had a lump taken out before and it was benign. And, they tell you, oh, if the lump causes your breast to be misshapen, mine was just there. It didn't give me any kind of problems. So what happened was, by 2019, the lump had grown quite a bit. So I decided, okay, let's just take it out. So I had been to the hospital. I had actually had the surgery. They had taken it out. They tested it. They said it was benign.
Just like
So yes. So I figured, hey, no problems. It's benign. I'm going home. So I went home. Um, and then about 4 or 5 months later, the lump came back.
How was the lump coming back? How did you feel when you found out that the lump came back? What was your reaction in that moment?
I think before the lump was taken out, I was fine. I was just like, oh, I'm one of those people who most likely has, I'm just prone to having lumpy boobs. It's not a big deal, But when the surgery was done, it was taken out, and then I was taking a shower a couple of months later, and I realized there's a lump still there. But I had always felt, even after the surgery, there was like the scar. You can feel it in there, like, okay, there's a scar here. But then at a point, I felt, no, this isn't just a scar, it's bigger than the scar. So that was when I became concerned, and that was 2019. You're taking a shower and you're like, okay, this isn't normal, this isn't natural. And then that was the lump that actually uh, gave me problems. It was after the surgery that the lump came back. I became a bit worried, and then it started to wrap. It was growing faster than it had done before. The other one had taken like maybe
years.
like 10 years or something to get to the point where it bothered me. But this one was rapid, like really quick. So I went back to hospital, and the surgeon, they did all the checks and everything. And he said it wasn't a lump, it was just scar tissue. And he said, this is like different people heal in different ways. And I probably just heal with, like keloids and a lot of scar tissue, which is not a lie. I'd had cesarean section and I did have scar tissue. So this is what we were on, was like, okay, it's scar tissue. Don't worry about it. I'd done everything, the mammogram, they had done the scans and all of that. They'd done the tests and all, and said it was not a real lump. It was just my body healing the wrong way. So I figured, okay, it's not a problem. The doctors know about it and everything. So I completely ignored my breasts. It didn't even occur to me that would be an issue. So at this point, I had been receiving treatment for gastritis for many years. Gastritis has symptoms similar to an ulcer.
Yes.
So I was having horrible ulcer pains. I did not connect them at all. The doctors did not connect them at all. And even that was an issue because in 2022, I had a gallbladder removed because they now found out that the medication for gastritis did not work anymore. So they took another look and realized, oh, my gallbladder was full of gallstones, which isn't rare, but mine was so full, it was now spilling out gallstones into the bile ducts. The bile duct was blocked. The bile was going back in my liver, poisoning my liver. And so I had to have the gallbladder removed.
Wow.
And we thought that was all. So, but then we had gallbladder removed in February. By May, my stomach started to swell. Like I couldn't eat. I couldn't really eat properly. And then at some point, I stopped being able to breathe. I would be throwing up. And so I was hospitalized at the end of May for food poisoning. But they couldn't explain the stomach swelling. They asked me to cut down on salt. I was given a diuretic. Long story short, I received eventually diagnosis for ovarian cancer. So at that point, I was at the end stage of ovarian cancer and didn't realize that I had that because of breast cancer. So it was a lot of, I wouldn't say misdiagnosis, part diagnosis, half diagnosis. So it was, it's been a bit of a long story short kind of thing, a lot that went on in between from the beginning of that to getting to that diagnosis.
So during this time where you were needing to have like a number of surgeries, you were needing to go to the hospital a couple of times, how did you feel? Because I remember a time where I had this pain and I couldn't tell where it was coming from, and I kept going to the hospital for a bit. And after a while, I just got tired. Anyone that asks me, I will tell them I'm beginning to feel like a lab rat. They don't know what's going on, so they're stressing me out, and I just stopped. So how did you feel during this time where you literally had to be in the hospital every other day because you were going for the gallbladder situation, the breast situation, and then the ovarian cancer, the liver? How did you feel?
I had like I said, I was being treated for gastritis for many years, and over the last 5 years, it would become really severe. At that point in my life was, I would wake up and immediately know if I was going to have a good day or a bad day, depending on how my stomach was feeling. Everyone in Garki General Hospital emergency unit knew me by name. All the doctors in Zankli General Hospital knew me by name. There were like 4 or 5 hospitals that, depending on whether I was at work or at home, I would be rushed to if I had a challenge. They all knew me by name. I had seen several gastroenterologists. I had done an endoscopy several times. And the reason why I was upset about this particular gastric situation was that I had done an endoscopy. They had put the camera down my throat like twice or so and saw nothing and didn't think to check for anything else, but continued to treat me for gastritis for so many years until the day when the pain medication didn't work. So I was in emergency. They were giving me pain medicine. It wasn't working. At one point, both myself and the doctor were crying because he couldn't figure out what else to do. He was sorry for me. I was upset on my behalf. My husband was upset on my behalf. I was in pain and crying. And, so it was at that point someone said, let's look at something else. And they did a scan and found out your gallbladder is about to explode over here, and so many other things are going on. So it was not just feeling like a lab rat, like going from one doctor to another. It was waking up every day and not knowing if I would be able to make it through the day without passing through emergency or spending the next 2 or 3 days in the emergency unit. It was a very frustrating way to live. Very frustrating. And it was upsetting for me because it affects my family. My husband can't say, I'm going to, there's an opportunity in another city, I can take it. No, he can't, because he doesn't know what's going to go on with me. So he needs to be, here as much as possible. I know when he had some work to do in the East, what that relationship was like. If he found that I was in the hospital, he started to call people. Grace is in the hospital. Please go check on her and things like that. And then caring for the children, and all of that. So it really was not an amusing couple of years.
So you mentioned how it affected your relationship with your husband. But I would like a little bit of more details on that relationship with people around you. Were you open to letting them know what you were going through? Were they aware that, you had this struggle? And what was their reaction? Were they helpful? Did you feel like at some point that you were being a burden to them? How did that feel, like in relation to other people around you?
Well, there's two different situations, and I think that's a really great question. I usually am the kind of person who likes to be in charge and control of at least my own space, the things that I feel like, this is mine, I should be able to take care of it. But you get to a point in your life where, at this point in my life, I didn't have an option. They had to know. Because you would have a situation where my neighbor is rushing me to the hospital, my children are home alone. So I'm calling family, please, I know that, you have your own things going on, but my family, my network were really very understanding and very supportive. And, you don't want to be a burden to them, but they always did come through. And that's, I think the aspect of having a terminal illness that people don't talk about very much is how much it affects the rest of your life and the people around you. I feel like over the last year, I feel like I financially ruined a lot of people. Not just because, friends, family, people I haven't seen in so many years, heard from in so many years, Grace has cancer. And I was getting money from left, right, and center. And I'm getting money from people who have responsibilities.
Yes.
People you see, they have to pay school with everything that's going on and the challenges, and they're sending me money for medical treatment. So I experienced that experience is a very real, very painful for me. Because I'm not sure what they had to give up to be able to support me, and the way that it affects my husband is my main caregiver, and he has had to give up everything. He's had to work, life, friendships, family relationships, everything. He's had to give that up for me. my children, they were out of school for a year because I wasn't in that position to be able to, care for them. So it really does, while it affects the individual, it does affect everyone. In ways that you can't imagine. Catch your husband in a corner crying somewhere.
Yes.
People are smiling at me, but then when they turn their backs, you can see that they're afraid or they're in emotional distress of their own on your own account. So yeah, seeing the way that people around me are affected was a big deal.
Okay, I asked how do you like getting the proper diagnosis and treatment and recuperating? How has it been?
Good, really. At this point, there's clarity. One of the things you gain very quickly in this kind of situation is clarity. Is what have I spent my life doing? And if all I have is 1 year left, what would I be doing with my life? It's funny because yes, I came across one of those, like, if you have only 1 year left, what will you do with it? I was like, if I have only 1 year left, I'm going to receive treatment and make sure that I have more than 1 year left. So a lot of clarity came with this. Was in this moment right now, what I need to be doing is this. We can or what you need to just forget about the layer side and focus on the things that matter and the things that are important. So I think coming through this process, that's whenever any of the frivolous thoughts I used to have would come to my mind, I'll be like, yeah, but we're doing this right now because this. So I have received a lot of clarity. I've been very should I say fortunate, blessed. I feel a lot stronger. I had alternative treatments, options for treatment that were different. The outcomes were different. As you can see, I have braids on my hair. When I started receiving treatments in Nigeria, I had chemotherapy. I didn't have any hair. So to have that, the options that don't affect the body as harshly as chemotherapy. So that has allowed me to have a different quality of life. With the chemotherapy, there was no question. There was no way I was going to be able to sit down and work, online or however, even have this conversation. There was so much going on, my body throwing up, weakness. But with this option, I'm able to live, manage my children, cook, do whatever. So it's been and not having to wake up and think, who am I going to meet in emergency today? It's a huge like a plus. That's not something I have to think about anymore. So yes, I think my quality of life has improved over the last 5 years, mostly because I don't know people in emergency units anymore.
We're thankful for the little and for the big blessings. So thank you so much for sharing. It's been something listening to everything, and I'm so thankful that you're here with us and that you're getting better. You're living life to the fullest. You're not plugged to machines. You're just going about your stuff. Really grateful for that. And I'm pretty sure that anyone who would listen to this, they are going to want to stick around and just fight through the process, no matter how they are feeling. Even beyond the health situation, just being resilient in the face of challenges that we have no control over. I think it's a huge deal, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Bye. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
And to everyone behind your camera.
You too.
Bye.